everyone, welcome to our China Close-Up Roundtable ongoing right here in Moganshan, Zhejiang Province. Over the past few days, we've been traveling around Deqing, Quzhou, and several different cities and counties here in Zhejiang Province with our friends from different media outlets. Thank you guys so much for joining us to discover some unique stories of China's Zhejiang Province. So joining us today are Helgi from Iceland's business paper, and Miguel, director of Negocios TV from Spain, and Svilen, founder of In Global from Bulgaria, and also our CGTN digital host Mina and radio reporter Majing. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Could you guys briefly introduce yourself to our audience? Who want to go first?
Ladies first.
From Negocios Television, and I really thank you very much for having us. It has been a very pleasure to be with you. We are a economic media that is focused on the economic situation around the world, the geopolitical, because it impacts a lot of in what is happening in the economy right now. It's very important, the tariff war, what the relation between the countries, and two, we focus on the asset managers, what the banks thinking about all these topics, and that is what is Negocios.
Yes, true. Welcome. Okay.
Yes, my name is Helgi Steinar from Viðskiptablaðið, Iceland's business paper. It's an honor as well, as Miguel was saying, to be here, especially I used to live in China. I did
That's why you can speak so good Chinese, right?
Well, I did my undergrad actually in Ningbo, not too far from here, and then my master's in Beijing. So I'm always very happy to be able to come back to China. And right now I work for, as I said, the business paper, and it's a very important time, I think, to combine China with business, especially for Iceland, because Iceland was the first Western country in the world to recognize China as a market economy through a free trade agreement. So the business opportunities have never been more, and there is a lot of interest for Icelandic companies coming to China. So I want to do my part to help facilitate that as best I can.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing more of your opinions. And I really like your hanfu.
Oh, thank you so much.
Nice.
Thank you. It's like they say, 入乡随俗.
Oh, wow, 入乡随俗. Yeah. Svilen?
First of all, thanks for having us all here. It's a big pleasure. I'm Svilen Georgiev. I'm the manager of In Global Media from Bulgaria. Our media includes a magazine, In Global Magazine, of which I'm the editor-in-chief. Also a website, a podcast which is focused solely on travel. We also do a series of events, and we do long-form journalism. We're interested in travel, in fascinating stories, in fascinating people, in science, in art, and it's all things that we can actually find here. It's my second time in China, and it's as always, it's been a privilege, and I'm blown away by everything that we see every day.
Yeah, you covered so many different areas. Can't wait to hear more of your perspectives.
It's very, very diverse. Yeah.
Anna?
Hi everyone. I'm Myrna from CGTN's digital department. I'm so happy to be here with everybody. You guys know we are here with literally a group of such interesting journalists from around the world. Us here at CGTN are also very happy to bring you a bit closer to Zhejiang in China, because over the past few days we have been to different locations. So we've covered everything from culture to traditions to AI to rural revitalization. So hopefully all our followers have been following our journey and they got to see different aspects of Zhejiang. And from our perspective, I feel we can give like a different insight than our lovely guests. So if you follow us on this journey, which is not even over yet, I'm sure all our audience can see something very different from all our different group of reporters and journalists.
Yes, true.
Sure. So my name is Ma Jin. I'm a reporter with CGTN Radio. So this is my first time visiting Zhejiang Province. So it's nice to travel with you guys, and I'd love to hear your opinions as well.
Yeah, it must be very your first time here in Zhejiang, right? So what was your very first impression when you arrived in like Quzhou and here in Deqing?
The cleanliness of the streets is amazing,
The clean.
and the nature, the mountains. It's a place to be in peace, I think.
Very relaxing.
Yeah, it's very clean and quite chill here.
Well, I mean, not my first time in Zhejiang, but it was my first time in Quzhou and first time in Deqing. And
Other places you were being?
yeah, but what I've been thinking is that, I've been coming to China on and off for about 20 years, and it's always been the same level of kindness and welcomeness that I feel, and I think that's a very important thing for common people visiting China, because right now, especially, we have a lot of geopolitical tensions, and there's a lot of fighting amongst countries, and when we watch the news, we may think that that's what the world is like, but coming to China and seeing nothing but love and kindness and warmth, I think that's a very good way to sort of see how the world really is.
Yeah, to see the real China.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's my first time in Zhejiang Province. We first arrived in Quzhou County, and I was really impressed by this unique blend of modernity on one side, and on the other side the deep and long traditions, the deep culture, which these two things blend very well together. And of course this is all set in a splendid natural environment. And this unique blend, it's actually not that unique only for Zhejiang, but for any other place that I have seen in China. You guys have a very good ability to blend high-tech and modernity with traditions. As for Deqing, as Miguel said, I was really blown away by the impeccable cleanliness of the city. It's so clean. Every small patch of grass is neatly cut. Every tree is pruned. There is not a single leaf that has dropped and hasn't been picked up. The boulevards are being washed night and day, so it's everything is in perfect order and very clean. And that's something that really impresses me. It's probably one of the cleanest cities I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, seems like cleanliness is the common thing that you guys talk about. We can talk about that later. And also, what about you?
For me, when I first landed here, we went to Quzhou first and then to Deqing. The first impression for me was openness. I feel like we were welcomed so friendly by everybody, and that really reminds me of the Arab culture, because the Arab culture in general is known for hospitality. So I think being here, the openness and the hospitality by the people in Zhejiang in general was very, very touching. We started our journey in Quzhou, and as you guys said, the greenery was really beautiful to watch. We even have witnessed so many different places. The place that really left an impression on me was the village we visited on the first day, the Deqing village. It is actually part of the rural revitalization strategy here in Zhejiang, and I thought it was quite magical, because we often think of a city as the place that attracts people the most, but the moment we entered the village, there was a cafe at the door. People in the village were welcoming us, and I think if you didn't mention it was a village, I would have just thought it was like a city, a modern little town. You can get your coffee, you can row your boats, and then we actually got to visit a Grandma Liu's she calls it a fig village, but actually it's because of a story where the fig industry over there in the village was really welcomed by everyone, that a little tree has now prospered into such a big industry, and that really tells you of the openness and the opinion that even though it was a village, now everyone in the village has a job, everyone has an income. So I think that is such an inspiring story for villages across the world, because I think rural areas are important. We always focus on the city so much. We always want to highlight what is the best city to go to in the world. But I think now on the internet, we really should have a ranking of what is the best village in the world? What is the best rural areas? So I think that is something that really left an impression on me.
Yeah, and it's also like a city-like village, but not that busy. And
everyone is so chill.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so for me, we first visited Deqing village, like Marna said, in Quzhou, and then the Naked Castle in Deqing. So both of them offer beautiful scenery and rely on their lush mountains to develop the homestay business. So I feel they are really good places for vacations, actually. And I feel they are also ideal places for a getaway from city life.
Yeah, I hope next time when we are here, we are really doing a real travel here. And was there any moment or story that really touched you guys or impressed you?
Well, for me, it was probably meeting Mr. Kong Yingli, the 76th direct descendant of Confucius. We went to the
history, right?
Yeah, the Confucius Temple. Now, obviously, most people who do know China know how important Confucianism is, and it's something that we do study. But I had no idea that his lineage was so well preserved and traced, and it was an absolute. You don't think you can meet people from 2,500 years ago, but you sort of meet them through their ancestors, and the way that he was so welcoming and so kind, and was able to at the same time give us so much wisdom. It's as if he had been hearing the teachings firsthand. I thought that was very, very, very interesting.
Yeah, was there any story of the ancestor that really impressed you while you
Well,
were visiting?
through meeting Mr. Kong, I mean, the thing that really impressed me was I told him I was from Iceland, and without dropping a beat, he mentioned the Icelandic football team.
Oh, wow, I must be so proud.
Because we had a very good run at the European Cup in 2016, and a lot of people in China at the time were, you know, interested in seeing a country of 300,000
Yes.
beating countries with and it was something I didn't expect, but it showed a real human side to him that I really appreciated.
Yes, true.
To be honest, I'm mostly touched by very personal and human stories. That's what fascinates me most. And I'm not sure if it's okay, but I would like to tell one such story that I heard here, because it shows that nothing in life happens by chance. I mean, everything has a reason. It's not a story of a Chinese person, but it's of a person who lives here for already 5 years. It's a story of a South African tour guide in the naked castle that we visited in Moganshan. So she had been working in hospitality since she was 15. She had met in South Africa. She had met some presidents, celebrities, very important people. But then she experienced something bad, and she decided to leave the country. And she had already found a job in the US. Everything was arranged. She was just about to leave for the US when she got a call from Naked Castle in Moganshan. They offered her a job in the castle. They saw her CV online, and they probably offered her 10 times less money than the job that she had already found in the US. But right after she spoke to them, she got contacted on social media by a friend of her, another South African, who had already found a job as a chef in the same establishment. So she took it as a sign from the universe, and she decided to go to Moganshan, even though she had never before even thought of moving to China.
Yeah. Did you ask her why?
She just felt it's the right thing. That was 5 years ago, and the first person that she met in Moganshan was the person who later became her husband, and they now have a 2-year-old daughter. And that's all very interesting, because in a way it reminds me of the story of the person who actually built the original castle, which is on which place is now Naked Castle built.
Yes.
It was a Scottish missionary doctor, David Duncan Main, who was on his way to India with his wife to start working as a doctor in India. But here he heard that Moganshan had been left without a doctor, without a person to care for the local patients, so he decided to stay. And he stayed for the next 45 years here in Moganshan. So apparently this place has a way of attracting people who have never heard of it before and who had never even thought of coming here. And I can see why, because it's so beautiful. I mean, all those green rolling hills and the lakes nestled in between these peaks, it's just amazing.
Yeah, it's quite attractive. And
Yeah,
thank you so
yeah.
much for sharing this beautiful story. Yeah. Gil?
As my partner says, I think that the nature and it's a very beautiful landscapes. I was with my partner in Quzhou Lakes, maybe it's his name.
Sure.
We was drinking tea. We only enjoy the calm. That's very beautiful. And in the big cities, you don't have that. You have a lot of parties, you have a lot of friends, of course, but you don't have calm, because it's very frenetic times, you know. And I feel very good with that. I
Slow
really,
down your life here.
of course.
For me, I really resonate with what you guys said. I am someone who believes things happen for a reason. So just like to collab on what you both said, when we were in the Confucius Temple, I was actually doing a live stream. So during the live stream, I had, I think, a group of elderly tourists who said they arrived from Zhejiang area. So they just welcomed me, and they were so friendly. They were asking me what I'm doing, all during the live. So they're like, what are you doing? How old are you? Are you married? You know, like your basic auntie questions from every country, they'll ask you that. So we just had a nice chat, and I was like, oh, how sweet, you know. I ended the live stream, and then later that day we went to Zhejiang in the old town, and then I was doing a live stream again, and I swear to God, the same aunties and uncles passed by me, and they were like, oh my God, and I was like, yeah, are you not the same people we met earlier? So I do believe these things like just naturally happen. Like how come we just happen to be in the same time, same places twice in one day?
Yeah,
So I think
beautiful coincidence.
that is really a coincidence, and
Yeah.
really the emotions that I had was that I think all of us are here for a reason. We are all part of the same journey, but we share different aspects of it. Like, how come this thing resonated most with you when we were all on the same journey? So I think that's what's beautiful about capturing stories from Zhejiang.
Yeah, can't agree with you more.
Sure. For me, I actually talked to a local media professional in Deqing County, and I feel she's very knowledgeable about everything, about her hometown, from food to different activities in different places. So I'm not even sure if I know that much about my own hometown, so I feel she's really proud of her hometown, and she wants to share the stories with all of us. So that's the thing that really impresses me.
Yeah, true.
What about Juju? Tell us what's your
Yeah.
favorite place. I know you actually enjoyed the cave a lot. Right?
Yeah, actually, your song at the karaoke village, that really impressed me, honestly. Yeah, because I can really feel the vibe and the enthusiasm that will.
Spanish vibes.
Yeah, I really like the song. And I was seeing you got a lot of fans in the village last night there. They're like waiting in line to take pictures with you. So yeah, I just really enjoyed that.
So Miguel, maybe there's a career in
Yeah.
singing in China for you.
Yeah, start your journey
Next-
here.
Next year, this time, Miguel. Spotlight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
voice of China
true.
before you know.
And also, Spillan, you talked about the blend of tradition and modernization here. Was there any example that you really feel Zhejiang's blend of tradition and modernization that may be a good example for other places?
I think I felt it most strongly in one particular moment. We were standing on top of the Shutianmen city walls in the ancient town of Quzhou, on top of this ancient gate, and behind us was this Shutianmen cultural and historical block. You know, the 3 streets and 7 alleys, the old, really old town. And in front of us was the river, and in the river there was a fountain on which were projected some very colorful images, like a cinema in the water. And on the other side of the river was the modern lights, the neon lights of modern day Quzhou. So it was a very, visceral, very physical point where you could feel the old tradition, the history, and the technology. And they don't clash; they just live harmoniously together. So I think that's a very good example how heritage should be preserved on one side, but always moving forward and developing high-tech technologies and everything else.
Yeah, like a magical line in
Yeah,
between.
yeah. But it's not like a border; it's a blending place.
Yeah, in harmony.
And also, just on the lighter side, back on this main street of this historic and cultural block, there was these so-called balcony shows, where people go out on the balconies and sing something. So what we saw was right next to each other, there was this lady in traditional attire who was singing a
Like hanfu, right?
Opera, I think.
traditional, traditional opera, and literally 2 meters away from her, there was a young guy who was singing some modern Chinese song. So again, this was a blend of old and new, which was very fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Was a very interesting point. And well, I think I don't think there's a specific moment, like you're saying. There's so many moments we've had, but I think just in general, Zhejiang is it's the famous Chinese saying 旧的不去新的不来.
Yeah.
Like if the old doesn't leave, the new can't. I don't think that applies to Zhejiang. I think Zhejiang is probably the best example of China, of a province being able to do both, to maintain so much of the old, but also just to do it in a way that it preserves everything, but also at the same time being so developed. And it's sort of like Zhejiang has found that perfect formula for maintaining both.
And what about you, Miguel?
I am very impressive because in Quzhou streets you have shops, contemporary shops that where you buy a tea, but you can see monuments that have a lot of age, and you move it from one world to another one in question of minutes, and you hold the culture, as I think that in other countries we are losing that, you know.
Yeah, it's like you can see different things and different stories in one street, right?
Yeah.
Like different characters too.
For me, I think what resonated most was absolutely the people. I think often when we discuss how to preserve a tradition, you think it's like a job, like, oh, I have this obligation and duty to continue it. But I never felt that here. I just felt like the tradition lives through the people. So when they're welcoming you and when they're doing their performances, even how they are preserving the culture in their own way, nothing is a duty. It's just like you feel like the modernization is them, but the tradition lives within them. So I think every walking person in Deqing and Quzhou is the blend of modern and traditional.
Yeah, true.
So for me, I want to mention the Shao Yongfeng sesame cake because the craft of making it actually was listed as China's intangible cultural heritage.
Was it that
Oh.
one?
Yes,
The one he was talking
in
about?
2021. So when we were working in the cultural block at Shuimenting cultural block, so there's an inheritor doing this performing this impressive and intricate skills to make these cakes. And actually, I actually talked to him and he said they hadn't done it before. So they used to make the cakes indoors, inside the kitchens, so visitors never saw the process. But later they want to show the tourists and they want to like impress them and promote their traditional food and culture. So I feel that's a kind of way to promote their food in a modern setting.
Yeah, that's a really good way to promote this kind of culture. And also we can see many like cultural and industrial exchanges happening here in Zhejiang Province too, because we've visited like different countrysides and also industrial parks, factories, right? Have you guys, what like business model or an idea that really impressed you about like industrial and cultural exchanges?
I will think about that.
Uh-huh.
I think, well, again, nothing but very specific. We did, what was very impressive to me, I think, was the level of innovation that we saw in every place we went to. There had always been this sort of feeling of the founder had to find something new, had to create something new. And I think that's a very, very important element because amongst people who may not understand China too well, there is this sense that China doesn't innovate a lot. It's sort of this, oh, China, they just steal technology from other countries. And but I think being able to see so much innovation firsthand, I think it's important also just for China to showcase that even more, because it obviously blows that kind of thinking out of the water. But it's also, it will be beneficial for everyone in the future because if, you know, this is the Chinese age and a lot of the innovation will be coming from China, it's going to be beneficial to everyone.
Yeah, and to see the real things here, like those high tech and all kinds of products, and not like stealing from other
exactly.
places. That's true. And Miguel, we know that Spain has a lot of experiences in tourism sector. So after you visited here in Moganshan, what do you think, maybe like comparing with those popular destinations back in Spain, what still can be improved here?
In Spain we have a lot of bar in every corner.
Oh,
There are a lot
yeah,
of
I
restaurants.
see.
I think that we could try to improve that here because it's very interesting for the tourists.
Oh, I see. And also, Bulgaria is very famous for its rose industry, thanks to its unique natural environment. So,
Nice.
yeah, and Moganshan is a very similar situation here, thanks to its natural environment to develop its unique industries. So, after you visit here, what do you think? What impressed you that may inspire to develop Bulgaria's rose industry, or what can be improved here?
As you said, Bulgaria is renowned all over the world for the rose growing and especially the rose oil production, which is used in high-end cosmetics. And it's due, as you said, to the unique climate, to the unique soil conditions, also to the centuries of tradition of people who work in this industry. But I think what we can see here and what we can learn from here is to implement sustainable ways of farming, eco-friendly production models, which could only make Bulgarian rose production even more appealing to both to investors and to customers alike.
Yeah, when you talked about sustainable, did you see any, like, what they did here that really left you impression?
Not in very specific details, but my overall impression is that everything is so well kept. Actually, one place that impressed me, not in Moganshan, but it was some wetlands where you have the crested ibis, which is one of the 4 animals which are symbols of China, as far as I understood. and they're very well kept. They are hatched there. They are bred there. So you guys have a very good models of taking care of nature. So industrialization shouldn't mean destroying nature. On the opposite, it's very well kept here.
Yeah, and after all these comparison, I just feel like it's really great to gather different media friends from different countries. And also, I'm very curious, like, what kinds of Chinese stories that you guys are really interested in? Or what you are curious about other aspects in happening here in China?
Mystics. I am really interested about the legalese of the age of all the history of the Chinese time around the I want to know about that stories. I am really interested about that.
Yeah, but just to go back to one more example that about how Iceland can learn from sort of the Chinese examples. I think I was very, very taken by Mr. Shen Zhorong, who is the OSM founder. So he views himself not only as a boss of a company, he viewed himself as the problem solver of his own industry. So, for example, in the 1980s, there was a big issue with the mussels that produce the pearls. So there was a disease. So he thought, well, I have to help figure out a solution to this. Same thing in the 90s, as I understand. He was very instrumental in helping the free trade of pearls in China. So I think that this is sort of the thing that Iceland could apply to. But to go to your story about how what kind of stories we like to hear, I think I would prefer to. I love to hear the stories about how families in China are adjusting to the changing in the economic world. So, for example, one of my favorite stories is I hear that a lot of Chinese people who are young, who live in the cities, they don't like to go back home and celebrate the New Year if they don't have a boyfriend or girlfriend, because there's so much pressure in the city to work. They work, and they don't have time for a social life, and then they go home, and it's the traditional. It's like, hey, where's your husband? Where's your wife?
Yeah,
so
I even saw some like job recruitments online to rent
a boyfriend and girlfriend. Yeah.
To be back at the Chinese Spring Festival. So yeah, that's quite interesting.
So that's another job you could do if you want to.
Stay here.
Yeah.
What about you, Simon?
I'm mostly fascinated by how China achieves such rapid progress in digitalization, in industrialization, in construction. But as we all said, but at the same time maintaining its roots in history, in tradition, and in culture. And these two things coexist harmoniously together. I think that's a very different job for any country to do. I think we're losing a lot of our heritage in Europe, because as three guys, we come from Europe. But here it's blended very well. So I would like to know stories about how China achieves this. And of course, as they said, stories of people, how people cope with this transition, what are their challenges, what are their dreams, because in the end, I think we are not so different from each other, people from different countries, so Chinese stories of Chinese people, I think, can really resonate with our Bulgarian audience as well.
Yeah, more humanized people stories.
Yeah, exactly.
And as our trip coming to an end, if let you guys use one word to sum up your impression on Zhejiang, what would that be?
I think it would have to be a kaleidoscope of views, of stories, of experiences, of people, and it is this amazing variety of impressions that I think would live in us for a very, very long time, and hopefully we'll tell the stories about it for a very long time.
I would probably have to say dynamic, because it's not just that, like I was mentioning about innovation, preservation of culture, it's also the passion people have for everything they do. So it shows how truly China is going to be moving within the next few years and decades. And I think that Zhejiang people are very good representatives of that. They're passionate about their work, and they're dynamic in everything they do.
Miguel?
I will say the opposite. Peace. The nature, the calm. No dynamics. For me, it's peace. I really like that.
Enjoy the slow
Because you
life.
come from Spain. Spain is very dynamic.
The
So
sweetness of doing nothing,
Spain
right?
is very dynamic. China is peace. I really like how I feel when I see the people, the Chinese people, how the kindness they treat us. It's amazing.
Yeah.
For me, I think it would be opportunity because I think every single place we visited, it was actually filled with young people who say either it was the policy or the environment that I'm in. It gave me lots of chances to fulfill my dreams. Either it was like the short movie places, the short film, or like all the nature villages they had. So I think every single place we went to, the young people showed opportunity. So I think that is one word I would use to describe Zhejiang as a whole.
Okay, I want to say prosperous because we've seen a lot of villages here, especially how they are becoming prosperous. For example, in Jinxing village, I've read a report about it saying the average income of the villagers are on average growing 7 times more than they did through traditional farming because they used to be
That's quite impressive.
yeah, because they used to be a small fishing village, but now they are their rural tourism industry is developing quite well. So I feel they are becoming prosperous. So I feel happy for that.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for all your very insightful and beautiful stories sharing here. And with that, we wrap up our roundtable today. And thank you guys so much for being here in this hot summer weather. And we hope that we can share more diverse ideas and perspectives about China in the future to make our global audience understand and see China just a little bit more. So with that, we wrap up our roundtable today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned and bye for now.
Bye!